Hi, everybody, and welcome again to a Spartan Sports Report. Our guest tonight is Penny Pfeiffer, who is the head coach for the volleyball team at CHS. We'll be speaking with Penny in just a few minutes. Right now, though, Sam and I want to talk a little bit about what happened at Spartan Stadium over the weekend.
Well, a lot of thunder and lightning out there on Friday night, and we waited around until about 9:15 when they finally called the game. And the rule is, if you see lightning, that you have to wait 30 minutes till the last time you saw it before you can play. So sitting on top of the hill out there at the CHS complex, lightning was all around us. And, you know, it's just for safety of the fans, safety of the students and the athletes, and they had to move it to Saturday night.
Absolutely. The lightning would stop and they would start the clock, and then the lightning would come and they'd put the clock back to 30, and so it was quite an evening.
We weren't alone with that. Teams in all over Southeast Indiana, or I think all over Indiana, had the same problem. But they did finally get the game in. And while I have a minute, I'd like to thank Eric George for setting in with Dave Pollard, because I couldn't be there on Saturday night, and it's unfortunate. I hate missing a game, but sometimes those things happen.
We have a little interview with head coach Adam Kelly that we made Friday evening before the game, and we might listen to that right now here on the Spartan Sports Report. Coach, what's the scouting report on this crew from Greensburg tonight?
Well, they're well coached. They're a physical football team. You know, they like to run the ball. They run the option offense, and you know, we know they're going to be a tough contest.
I know you've been working hard all week following your first two ball games. So how's practice gone?
The practice has been great. You know, it's been great every week we've had practice. So nothing's changed there. We just got to be able to translate what we're working on in practice onto the game field.
I know you're concerned about the turnovers, and that's something you've been working hard, I imagine, to try to correct.
Yeah, 11 turnovers in 2 weeks is, you know, you're not going to win football games that way. So we've talked about that a lot. You know, we've adjusted a few things as far as personnel go, and some of our scheme we've dialed it back down a little bit, tried to simplify a few things, and give our kids a fighting chance.
We'll see a lot of young football players at halftime, won't we?
Yes, sir. It's a youth league night, so we've got grades 1 through 6 that are going to be announced along with their coaching staffs.
Coach, best of luck tonight. We'll see you after the game.
All right, thanks, Fran.
Sammy said they might pass the ball. That was an understatement. I think they picked up like 219 yards in passing. So a lot of footballs flying around Spartan Stadium, but unfortunately they were all Greensburg.
Yeah, that is. It makes for a long night when they do that too, it seems. But Spartans did play better, what I read, 26-21 the loss, and had a chance pass at the end that was batted down that ended the game. But they're getting closer. And they travel to South Dearborn this week, another conference matchup, and I like their chances down there. South Dearborn, I think, has won one game, and
they're 1-2 right now. They've defeated Madison. They lost to Whiteland and to Batesville, I believe, were through their 2 losses.
So they've lost to some pretty tough competition. Yes. Whiteland, and of course, I think Whiteland's a 5A or 6A school, and Batesville, one of the better teams in the Eastern Indiana Conference. So they'll have to go down and put it all together. But I think each week we're seeing a little bit of progress here, or this past week we did anyway, and a game that is winnable as they travel down to Dearborn County to take on South Dearborn.
Young team, 9 seniors on this squad. Everybody else is an underclassman.
And they're getting their baptism.
21 ninth graders, I think, are on this squad.
Can only make them stronger in the future. But it'd be nice to get some wins here midway through the season, and of course we got South Dearborn this week. We travel to Rushville next week. They're winless, so right now this part of the schedule maybe favors us a little bit.
Hope so. On September 25th we'll be back home meeting Indianapolis Broad Ripple that night, and that will be homecoming.
Yeah, hard to believe homecoming's be here in a couple of weeks. But
and then the final home game that just play for this year, that will be on October the 9th, and I believe, let's see, who moves in? Lawrenceburg, I believe.
Lawrenceburg, I think.
On senior night. Senior night.
Final game down at Batesville, which we'll talk more about that, but it's an interesting stadium down there that the home crowd looks like they're sitting in a horse track environment with a covered stands, and the field slopes to the north, and it's very obvious that it slopes. So tough place to play. But they got a lot of football between now and then, and we'll be down there. WLPK, KMX 106.9 will be down there with the game if you can't make it. But we certainly like to see a big crowd, and Spartans usually travel pretty well.
Yes,
so
they do.
It'd be good to see a lot of red and white down there this coming Saturday or this coming Friday night. We hope it's not Saturday night, that we can get the game in. There again, another stadium that sits on top of a hill. So hopefully no lightning this Friday.
We hope not. We hope that's it for the season. I hope. Penny, how's your volleyball team doing?
We're taking a big swing here lately. We're 5-7.
Okay.
So we had a slow start at the beginning, but I think we're starting to climb that hill again, back up. So showing some improvement. We're 2-4 in the conference right now.
Okay. Okay. Are you a young team? What are your classes?
Yeah, we have 4 seniors, 2 sophomores, 2 juniors, and a freshman. So our 4 seniors bring a lot of volleyball experience, but we are young. The 2 juniors, one is a returning varsity player. The other junior is new to us, and of course our sophomores and freshmen. They're still learning and learning the game.
Sure. You have a JV team, don't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's 9 on varsity this year and 11 on JV.
Okay.
Our JV is strong in freshmen as well. We have probably 8 freshmen, so they're young. So when we're playing JV teams that are virtually sophomores and juniors, my assistant Brett Lee is our JV coach. He's playing a lot of freshmen, and they're starting as freshmen. That's a big jump.
Sure.
From middle school to starting JV.
Is there volleyball in the middle school?
Oh yeah.
Oh good.
Yeah, 7th and 8th grade both.
Good.
Yep.
Good. That's it. Are you involved in that much, or?
A little bit. We have good coaches down there. Don Crum, Kim Shirt take care of that for us. We go down and try to, just let them know that we're still there for them and support them as much as we can. We play on the same night, so it's kind of virtually impossible to get down there and watch them. But the middle school teams come up and watch us play, and we try to get down there and watch them play.
6 members on the team, right? 3 on the front row and 3 on the back?
Right.
Okay, and you predetermine the point figure that out for somebody that doesn't know much about volleyball, including me. I don't know, Sam, if you know volleyball or not.
Well, I've tried to play a couple times and decided it wasn't something I could do.
Yep, there's 6 on a court at a time.
Okay.
They have their position players. Of course, you have your 3 in the front row, left side, middle, and right side hitters. We run what we call 6-2 offense. So that means we have 2 setters that we're running throughout the offense that comes from the back row. And then we have our libero, and it's the girl that is in a different colored jersey. If you've ever watched volleyball, there's always a girl out there in a different colored jersey. And that's Samantha Frank for us. And her job is just to pass. She passes and plays defense only. So she never rotates to the front row. Yeah.
And what are some typical scores, and how do you get your points?
Right. It's rally scoring. So every time the ball is stopped, there's a point. You can not only it used to be back in the day when I played, you could only win off your serve. That's gone many years now, but it's rally scoring. So every time the ball ends, it's either a side out or a point. They play to 25. We play at varsity level. We play 3 out of 5 during the season. Tournaments, we play 2 out of 3.
Okay. And what's the average length of a game? Is it?
About an hour. Hour. It depends if you go 3 straight sets. It's going to go quicker, obviously. But we've been in some really heated battles, and it's gone all 5 sets, and it takes an hour and a half, a couple hours to play.
What's the official's job? What do they do?
Not a lot, it seems. They just, illegal hits. There's only so many ways you can contact the ball. Especially they watch the passers. It just needs to come off their arms very clean. Especially the setters, it has to come out of their hands very clean. They watch for rotation on the ball. Sometimes go by the sound of it, which normally isn't the case. It can sound bad, it can be ugly, but it doesn't have to be necessarily a double hit. So,
are there violations, and what's the penalty? Or
different violations for different things. If you're out of rotation, the girls have to rotate in a certain.
I see.
Yep. And it gets kind of complicated. We run some different sets where we try to hide some people, and we get our hitters to come from a different angle. They can't overlap, so the front row can't overlap with the back row. you know, it's kind of tough for officials to kind of track those players who are in the front row and the back row. It kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. Their job is, you know, to make sure that the ball's, you know, in, out, inside the, you know, the court area.
Yes.
Just keep the game clean.
Well, what are some of the terms I hear? Digs and some other words that I don't know what they mean.
Right. A dig is just a hard-driven spike. Spike is an attack. Sometimes they might say bump or pass. We pass the ball. Forearm pass with their hands, with their forearms. I don't know. There's a lot of terms that I guess can be.
Sure. Well, how does a game begin? Who determines who leads the first?
Yeah. Before every match, there's a coaches captains meetings.
Okay.
So we meet with the officials. They go over the same protocol each game. You know, good sportsmanship, and they just stress that, you know, we all play and have that good sportsmanship. They do a coin flip.
Okay.
The visiting team will call it, and then they'll get the choice of either receiving the serve or to serve.
Oh, it's like in football. I mean, you get the kickoff or receive. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
We always, if we win the toss, we always choose to receive the serve, and then that way we're always hitting first. So we have the first chance to. They have the first chance to miss a serve, or we have the first chance to attack and make a kill. So that's kind of our philosophy.
How these guys stay in training? How they stay so they can run like that?
Yeah, it's very grueling. Like I said, you know, you playing 3 out of 5, and we play 32 matches a year. They have to be in pretty good shape. We start in the summertime with our summer conditioning. We start in June. We go 3 nights a week. We play scrimmages with our EIAC teams, usually down at East Central. With those scrimmages, then once a week we had trainers come in, athletic trainers come in, and we worked on our strength and conditioning all summer long. So
you guys use the training room at CHS?
We did.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the
Sure do.
the football players?
Yep.
Okay.
It's not about really moving a lot of weight. It's just, you know, increasing that strength for girls. A lot of girls are a lot weak in their upper body.
Sure.
You know, of course, you have to have the leg strength, the agility. It all plays a part in it as well.
Sam, you said you tried volleyball, but you didn't.
Oh, yeah, you just out in the yard, you know.
That's fun too.
Yeah, that can be. But a couple of questions for you. I know that they moved the girls' basketball schedule up a week. The IHSAA did, but they didn't move volleyball up, and that's causing a little bit of a conflict. Your thoughts on that?
It is going to be a conflict. It's going to be a problem because that is our tournament time. And, you know, I'm really not in favor of girls leaving volleyball to go to basketball open gym.
Right.
And, you know, I know Coach Thompson wants them there as well. But, you know, at the same time, you know, my feeling is they're still in volleyball season. They need to finish the volleyball season.
So do you think they should have moved if they were going to do that, move the volleyball season up a week? Or?
Yeah, I think something probably should have given there. I don't think they should have to overlap. Those kids, you know, we stretch them pretty thin anyway. And for them to try to do 2 sports, you know, that's just not good for either one of us.
And traditionally, throughout the years, there's been several play both sports. Play the fall sport and then play the winter sport. There've been some. You've had some great players that went on to play basketball also. So
you know, and for me not to tell them not to do that, I mean that's you know, that's their next sport. But at the same time, you know, it interferes with my season as well.
Talk about some of your players. You mentioned Samantha Frank. I know you have a daughter playing, which has to be very special. That
it is.
You played the game, you played for CHS, and now coaching her and watching her play.
Yeah, we have 4 seniors. Brittany Gabbard is my daughter. She's finally a senior now, so it's kind of bittersweet seeing her and being able to coach her through those 4 years. Madison Lee, who is Brett's daughter, and then Kelsey Barrett is also a senior.
And all big contributors to the team.
Oh, absolutely. Brittany, Sam, and Madison, you know, they've played volleyball since they were teeny tiny, and we've had them in club together. You know, they just bring a lot of volleyball experience.
Well, it just seems like yesterday Brittany was teeny tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's pretty special to
yeah, it sure is.
to coach her and be a mom, and it's difficult though at times.
Yeah, how do you separate that, being a coach and being a mom?
It's tough at times, but I've known, because I've coached her for so many years. Her being young, even in the club level, it's just you're a coach when you're at the gym and when you're at the game, and then when we leave the gym, not a lot said. So.
And you can't show favoritism.
No, absolutely not.
Because the other girls are going to see that, and
sure.
their parents, and
yeah, and it's been rough. I think for Brittany and Madison both. Having mom there and dad there as their coaches, but we've been there. This is my 15th year coaching, and Brett's we're working on about 10 years coaching. So we've coached long before our own daughters were there. But it's just kind of a special time for us to be able to coach those girls.
Sure it is. You mentioned your record. How many games do you? It's a long season. You play a lot of games. How many on the schedule?
We play 32. Yeah. We're, like I said, 5 and 7. Those play about every Saturday. We play like 8 Saturdays in a row. Those are tournaments, so we play 3 teams and 1 day on Saturdays. So.
In the conference, who would you think would be the favorite?
East Central. East Central, Lawrenceburg are going to battle that out. Batesville, us, and Greensburg, I think, are going to vie for that 3rd spot. I think we're sitting really nice. We take on Greensburg Thursday here. I think we just need to take that one, and we're going to make a lot of things happen in that 3rd position.
Fran mentioned the workout gym that we have at CHS, but you go down to East Central, and it looks like Division I school down there.
Yeah.
That's just such a growing community down there, a growing school that they have the best of equipment. It seems like in all their sports, be it boys or girls basketball, football, volleyball, they always do very well.
Yeah, yeah. And the field house is where we play during our summer leagues. So that's nice to get in there and play. They have the standards that lift up and raise into the ceiling, so they don't have to carry out the equipment each night. So yeah, it's first class, that's for sure.
What do you look for in a player when a girl comes and says, "I want to play volleyball"? What are you looking for?
I'm hoping she's 6 foot tall.
Other than that,
just being athletic. We can teach volleyball, to about anybody, as long as they have some athleticism to them, some motivation, some drive, the desire to get better. If they're coachable, we can make them volleyball players.
Yeah, the intangibles I like, the heart and dedication, as you say. That's so important in an athlete, isn't it?
Right, absolutely, yeah. I mean, they've got to want it, within themselves to become better. Volleyball is just not one of those sports. We have Pee Wee football. We have, little girls, boys, and basketball. And in volleyball, there's just not a whole lot of time for them to play until they get to middle school. So, I mean, they have to learn the game pretty quick.
Over the years, have you had any players that were signed by colleges to play volleyball?
Yep.
Could you name them?
Yep. Early in my career, I had Andrea King, who was 6'4".
Wow.
Yeah. She was a freshman varsity player all 4 years. She went on to play at Butler. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. I had some girls play at Anderson. I know Lynn Ross, who used to also coach with me. She played at U of I. Angie Moster played at St. Joe's. Trying to think back who.
Great.
Yeah. I mean, we've had several. The latest one is Megan Robbins. She was my libero year or two ago, and she went to play at Manchester.
Good deal.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you've had some gals that
There's some great opportunities.
Yes, really. You mentioned that you have Greensburg here Thursday?
Right.
And then an invitational Saturday morning?
Yep. It's our home invitational here. It's us, Marion, Rising Sun, and Burbuff. And Burbuff is a semi-state finalist. So that's going to be quite a challenge to...
All these games, are these games that go on simultaneously or what?
Unfortunately for us in our gym, because we only have the one gym, so it's a round robin type thing. So we'll play and then we'll sit and the other 2 teams will play and then we just re-round robin throughout the day.
Okay, so. And the games are at the high school gym?
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Quite a diverse bunch there with your invitational that from down on the river to up north of Marion.
Right.
And then Burbuff's always good at everything. Those parochial schools can gather players.
Yeah,
We'll just say that.
Yeah, they just tend to flock to them for some reason. But yeah, we had Madison in it from way down south on the Ohio River, and for the last couple years, and unfortunately he got into a different tournament, so he had to drop out, and Brebeuf picked it up.
We're sectional this year. Where's sectional played?
I believe at Greenfield.
And it's basically the same that we're familiar with in girls and boys basketball,
Right.
same schools. So.
Yeah. Pendleton Heights, Richmond, Greenfield. Who else is in there?
Newcastle.
Us.
Anderson.
Richmond.
Yep. But some pretty good competition there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So. I mean, it's probably one of the toughest in the state. Newcastle's always tough. We just played them last week, and you know they're at a whole new level.
And Muncie Central will be back when they move back into 4A. So
hopefully not in ours. Hopefully don't put them back in ours.
So yeah, because the Muncie schools traditionally have always been very good. And what's the private school that's associated? Burris.
Muncie Burris.
Back before class sports. I mean they could take on the big girls.
Yeah. It's the Wapahani's, it's the Yorktowns now around the Muncie area, so it's still strong, very strong.
This week at CHS, in fact today, the girls golf's at Hagerstown, the girl varsity and JV soccer teams are at Rushville, the boys tennis is at Centerville, cross country at the East Central Invitational, and the boys varsity and JV soccer at Southwestern in Shelby County. So it's a busy day at CHS.
Sure is.
Thursday, girls golf at our country club. They'll be meeting Triton Central. The boys soccer team is home to Centerville. The girls soccer team home to Oldenburg Academy. The boys tennis is Southwestern in Shelby County. The freshman football game will be with Greensburg here. And the varsity and JV volleyball home, they meet Greensburg at 5:30 here. And then on Friday, the varsity football game at South Dearborn, and that'll have a 7 o'clock start. On Saturday, in addition to what you guys have got, a Penny, cross country will be at Randolph Southern Invitational. That starts at noon, and the girls golf will be in conference tournament that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's a busy week.
Busy week here after Labor Day, and
yes,
of course we're recording this on Tuesday, but it sure felt like Monday when I went to work this morning, and sure it did for you.
You teach at high school, Penny?
I teach 4th grade at Fayette Central.
Okay, good deal.
So I deal with 10-year-olds all day, and then deal with high school kids.
You recruit any
I actually do. I do. Yeah,
do
get them to come to Spartan camp and encourage them to play. And middle school, because my 6th graders are going into middle school. So
super.
Absolutely.
That sounds good.
And I'm sorry. You played at college too. Tell us about that and where you.
I played at Indiana Wesleyan. I came out of high school being a basketball player, and so I thought I was going to play basketball. And they needed a setter for their volleyball team, so I ended up going on a basketball-volleyball scholarship. We had great volleyball teams at Indiana Wesleyan, loved it. Came out an All-American in volleyball, and still sold some school records up there. So
it's funny how sometimes things change. You know, you go in a different direction than what you set out to do, but certainly been a good direction that you turned to.
Yep, love it.
It's an interesting sport, it really is, volleyball, and I'm surprised they don't have boys in Indiana, it's just girls, right?
They do have some boys.
Oh, do they have some boys?
Yeah, back
volleyball?
then early it was considered a club team. And we did have a boys team at Connorsville.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
How long ago was it?
Probably 20 years ago.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay.
yeah.
Can boys, I know that we have a young lady on the football team because that similar sport is not offered. Can boys try out for the girls volleyball team?
We get that a lot. It's something that has to do with the gender equity. I'm not quite sure the rule, but no, they cannot.
Okay. Just because of strength, body strength, you think?
There's something that has to do with the IHSA and the gender equity. I mean, if they offer a sport of some nature for the fall for the boys, then they have to play that. But I'm not
see.
quite sure. But yeah, no, they can't.
All right. Well, it's
Unfortunately,
probably best that they don't.
Probably not. Yeah.
Be interesting though if they would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it would. You know, when I this year when I was out at the football game and a young lady there putting her helmet on, I did a double take.
Yeah.
You know, I thought, well, the hair's a little longer, and then
The men actually play on a higher net, so it would be a little difficult for them.
Yes,
Play.
right. Well, it's interesting. How long are you going to continue coaching?
That's a good question. I've been asked that since my daughter is a senior.
Sure.
And I haven't made any decisions yet, so
Sure. Well, you ought to keep doing it.
I feel like I'm going to at this
Sure.
point. You know, I like to see those freshmen come through and see how they develop. So.
How are facilities compare with some of the other places where you play? You talked about East Central, but what are some of the
Yeah,
others?
you just can't compare. Our gym's small, which I think kind of works to our advantage. It's small. You know, we go to play at Chrysler Fieldhouse, and that's huge.
Yes. Yes.
Our gym's small, but you know, it's unair conditioned, so it's very hot, really hot. We've had a couple girls from other teams actually get lightheaded and dizzy, so because of the heat. So,
What's the attendance? How do the people show up?
you know, there's probably 100 people there, maybe. I mean,
Okay.
we fill up the bottom row of the bleachers in our gym at the high school.
Yeah. It's an interesting sport. It starts in August and runs through
The end of October.
Mid-October,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Sam, what else would you like to ask?
well,
Penny?
we just appreciate Penny taking time here. I know that it's been a couple years since I had her on at halftime out at
Right.
football field, but always very interesting and to hear about other sports. And volleyball is a major sport, but one that, you know, if you get 100 people there, that's probably
Yeah,
pretty good.
Pretty
And,
good attendance.
yeah, so you got to be pleased with that. But sure, the more the merrier. And people
absolutely.
that are watching this program, check your schedule, check your calendar, and go out and watch the Spartan volleyball team. I know they'd love to have support.
Has there ever been any talk of playing a Spartan Bowl or anything?
Well, I had asked Mr. Duncan when they redid the floor.
Yes.
I think he thought I was kidding. You know, the holes in the floor and they have the little jacks that go in them at the fuller standards that would be in there. So
Okay.
I don't know. I'm still working on him.
Well, good luck. Sam, you have a floor update?
Well, I just understand that the subfloor is down,
Okay.
and they've brought in the planking, and we're supposed to start putting the planking down. So it looks like that it should be down in time for basketball. Of course, it's got to be clear-coated and striped and painted and all that. So,
Sure.
but they're moving right along.
That's good. Things are...
And pieces of the floor are still for sale.
Okay.
Call Brent Duncan.
I know Mr. Duncan would like to get rid of all the floor if he can. Right.
Yep.
Well, we wish him good luck. Penny, we want to wish thank you for joining us today.
for having us.
And best of luck in your games. How many do you have at home, roughly?
10 to 11 home games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
We've been on the road for 5 straight, so
Oh,
it's
wow.
a long. It's going to be a
that's-
good night to play at home on EIAC. So
And best of luck in the tourney. I know you and Sam talked about the tournament, who you thought was strong in the Indiana Athletic Conference tournament, but you never know.
all right.
You never know. And the best of luck in all the games that are remaining.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And Sam, are you rooting for the Colts this weekend and the Bengals?
Always.
Okay.
Colts and the Bengals, and
Okay.
as long as the Colts and Bengals aren't playing each other.
All right.
So hopefully everybody has plenty of air in the balls.
And best of luck on Friday night. And if the young men can get a win, what a conference builder that would be.
Oh, it would, and they desperately need a win because Coach
Yes.
Kelly's had them working hard, and they continue to work hard. They're just so young.
Well, I hope that they can get a couple more victories, and when they come back home, they'll have a winning streak going.
Be good. Come back home and have a homecoming victory.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on the Spartan Sports Report. We'll see you next week.